What's good, guys? Fantasy Joe back here with another fantasy football video. Today I am breaking down Bijan Robinson versus Nick Chubb early round draft picks. If you guys have any other ideas for these type of videos talking about guys in the early rounds, would I take this guy, would I take this guy, let me know down in the comment section down below. Going to be breaking down why I like each player and what ultimately makes the decision for me on whether I would take Nick Chubb or Bijan Robinson in fantasy football. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I have a ton of videos on the channel. Values already out. Busts, sleepers coming your way soon. League winners as well. Mock drafts on the channel. Done a rookie running back preview, sophomore wide receiver preview already out. So just a lot of content out, a lot of stuff coming your way. So you're going to hit that subscribe button to stick around for all of it. Like I said, if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section down below. I'll respond as always, and it really helps out the algorithm, all the likes and comments, so please help me out. And let's hop into some fantasy football. So Bijan Robinson, I'm going to start talking about him first. He was picked with the 108 by the Atlanta Falcons. You can see 4.46 in the 40, which was the metric they thought he might be a little bit weak in as far as breakaway speed, but you can see 87th percentile, pretty darn good with a 90th percentile speed score when you consider how big he is. 36.8% college dominator and 6.1 yards per carry in college. Let's go look at his college stats. They're very impressive, especially when you consider the offensive line he's playing behind. This last year, not a good offensive line. He still averaged really good numbers at 20 total touchdowns. One of the numbers I like to point out with Bijan, especially when you're comparing two guys, he also has the 11th ranked schedule coming into this season for running backs. The crazy stat about Bijan Robinson, like I said, that offensive line last year at Texas was not good, but he made it happen regardless. A 40% broken tackle rate last year, 104 forced broken tackles. Absolutely ridiculous number. 104 is the highest they've ever charted as far as forced missed tackles go. And the exciting thing about him getting taken with the number 8th overall pick at such a crazy talent when you add in the draft capital, and then he goes to a run-first team who last year had the most running attempts in all the NFL with 559. And they've got a good offensive line, a top 10 unit basically by everybody. I believe PFF has them at number 8 overall. A good ranking for sure, and they're really good at running the ball. Last year, I think Algier, 4.9 yards per carry. They have a 4.9 yards per carry as a team as well. I think Bijan does that well, or even better, so you're looking at right around 5 yards a carry. I also think Bijan's going to walk into, with that draft capital and just the talent he is, at least 260 carries. I think he could be close to 300 by the end of the season. And he also was an excellent receiver in college. You can see these numbers down here below. 19 receptions, 26 the year before, but this last year in college, 16.5 yards per reception, absolutely insane, and 13.4 yards per reception for his entire career. Like I said, those are just great numbers, and Bijan, with the draft capital, is going to succeed. It's going to be a run-first offense. The offense might not have the same upside as maybe the Cleveland Browns does if Deshaun Watson is good, but he's going to be the focal point of it. They play an easy schedule this year, 11th ranked against running backs, like I mentioned, but easy in terms of winning and losing games in that weak division. They should have a chance to win a lot of these games, even though they're not a great team, which means positive game scripts for Bijan, and I think he'll be used enough in the passing game that even his bad games are going to be not his bad games, but even the games where they aren't winning necessarily, he can still produce for fantasy, be somewhat game script independent of the game script. But yeah, I absolutely love Bijan headed into this next season. Now let's talk about Nick Chubb. Not going to talk so much about his numbers, although you can see that they are excellent. He's a few years out of the league now. We've got more data on him, and you can see his stats these last several years. Every single season of his career, over 5 yards per carry. It's extremely impressive work by him. And I think the big thing for Nick Chubb this upcoming season is more receiving work could be in line for him with Kareem Hunt out of town. Jerome Ford is his backup. Never really been utilized in the NFL very much. So if he starts catching passes when he gets close to 300 carries, is an extremely efficient runner, over 5 yards a carry for his entire career. And let's say he catches 35, 40 passes, I think he'll be somewhere in the 30 to 40 reception range. he could be absolutely dynamite for fantasy football, even more consistent, and he always puts in a good amount of touchdowns on the ground. He's probably the best runner in the entire NFL. He's a little bit older, so I think his peak season, I think he might have one more season that could be potentially his best, but after this next year, he's probably on the downturn. But even if you get what he gave you last year, he's an RB5, 13 total touchdowns, 1,525 rushing yards, and he gets you that 30 to 40 receptions. I think you're going to be very happy with him. Also, I think something that bodes well for him is they have a great offensive line as well. Number 2 ranked coming into the season according to Pro Football Focus, and this offense with Deshaun Watson coming into year 2 could be greatly improved. Just offers a lot of upside where he could potentially be rushing in 16 touchdowns, something like that, or 16 total touchdowns. I think that's the upside that he possesses that Bijan doesn't necessarily. But I think Bijan has more of a higher upside in the receiving game. I think he'll catch more passes than Nick Chubb will this year. I think their numbers will be fairly close together. I do think Bijan's going to average over 5 yards a carry this year as well with that Atlanta Falcons rushing system and that schedule. Nick Chubb is a 24th ranked running back schedule this upcoming season. That is a little bit of a, when they're talking about 11 versus 24, it's not a massive difference, but that is noticeable. Basically, I do think Nick Chubb is the safer draft pick, and I do think he offers running back 1 upside, but I do think Bijan Robinson's upside is a little bit higher. I think his floor is a little bit lower as well. He might, because with Algier and Cordell Patterson still there, maybe he doesn't get as much of the receiving work as we think he will. Maybe he gets less rushing work, but then I still think he's getting 260 carries and catching 35, 40 passes on his floor projection. I think Nick Chubb is going to be right around 330 to 40 receptions, but I think Bijan will get close to that 300 carry mark. I think he could catch 50 passes, and I'm going to take the upside on the young back who doesn't have much wear on his tires yet. I'm not really afraid of that, of Nick Chubb, but I'm going to take the younger guy and the guy I think that is just going to be utilized to a crazy degree. I think Bijan is a very, very big-time elite talent at the running back position and can post some monster numbers similar to what we saw Saquon Barkley do in his rookie year and Ezekiel Elliott in his rookie season. If you guys have made it to this point in the video, please hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section down below. I'll respond as always. This has been Fantasy Joe. Thank you guys for watching.